Some of the best art in history has come from breakups. But the beauty of writing a breakup song is the therapeutic honesty it allows, because you don't have to see your ex-partner anymore ever again.
I hope you fucking choke!
But what do you do if you share the same band as the person you're writing about? In 1994, Gwen Stefani's idea of the perfect union between being bandmates as well as romantic partners was shattered. Bass player for the ska rock band No Doubt, Tony Kanal, had called off their relationship after 7 years. So naturally, you'd think Tony or Gwen would leave the band as a result of the impending awkwardness. Instead, they channeled heartbreak into their art together. And by embracing the sadness and confusion, Gwen opened a new side of her songwriting that would finally give No Doubt the commercial success they had been seeking for almost a decade. And it was one song in particular where Gwen discovered that this seemingly awkward and unique situation was in fact relatable to millions.
I think Don't Speak's just a sad song. Sad.
Don't speak!
Those are some seriously intense words, but they were so sincere that I wouldn't stop her from writing what she felt.
Gwen Stefani and Tony Kanal had been dating since No Doubt's inception, all the way back to 1987. As a ska rock band out of Orange County, California struggled to get any mainstream success, Gwen and Tony's relationship remained strong.
At this point, I was so in love, and obsessed with Tony Kanal, and he knows that.
But as 1994 came along, in the middle of writing their follow-up record to their disappointing debut 2 years prior, the band experienced a watershed moment from two different perspectives.
When you're in a band, you always are challenged with problems, right? And then you solve some of them, and then you get handed new ones. So we've had some new ones, and we're trying to cope with them.
First, Gwen's brother, No Doubt's keyboardist and main songwriter Eric Stefani, had decided to leave the band. And almost immediately after, Tony and Gwen's relationship started falling apart.
I think that my brother, when he was quitting, that was just like the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Like, my brother was like my best friend. You know what I'm saying? We did everything together.
Well, let me understand this. Your brother decides to leave, but he's written a lot of songs.
But Tony broke up with me at the same time.
The silver lining was that the breakup opened this new creative side to Gwen's songwriting.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I start writing songs. I don't know how to write them. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't play an instrument. And that's where I finally found that passive girl was gone. And it was like I found a focus and I found a power.
Before, all Gwen really cared about was being in love with Tony. She had never embraced the role as leader of the band.
What do you see for the future for No Doubt?
Oh gosh. Tony, what do you see?
The breakup matured Gwen and gave her a new perspective on life. She found her new self in her songwriting.
A lot of her lyrics were fueled by what we were going through, and Don't Speak was one of those songs that was almost like a catharsis for her. It's almost like venting her inner emotions.
Don't Speak was Gwen's frustration and confusion to Tony after the breakup. In the song, Gwen is just starting to come to terms with Tony ending the relationship.
I really feel that I'm losing my best friend. I can't believe this could be the end.
I actually wrote the words at Tony's house on his computer, and thinking to myself when I was writing them, this is so really, really real. This is exactly how I feel. And it makes me want to cry right now.
Gwen is speaking for a lot of people when a relationship is ending. It's that contradiction of trying to come to terms with everything, but any explanation over the reasons for the split is just causing more pain.
I don't need your reasons, don't tell me 'cause.
And I remember calling him going, listen to this one, and like on the phone and reading it to him, and it was like really mean about him, you know, like horribly mean, but he was like, actually, like, that's really good.
After hearing those lyrics and a swath of others in a similar vein that would end up on the Tragic Kingdom album, you'd think Tony would want to leave the band. You know, the media is going to focus on the breakup, and you're going to have to sit next to each other through interviews talking about it, never mind sharing a stage every night and playing songs of which you're the subject of.
We were opening this wound next to each other constantly. You would go back to the room so emotionally, physically, spiritually, like everything was drained.
We didn't know what we were going to do, because how can you be in the band and how can you have a breakup like that?
But the fact they stayed a band speaks to the friendship Tony and Gwen had over and above the romantic side.
He said, what should I do? Should I leave the band? Right? And I was like, no. Tony and I were able, because I guess the passion for the band and the music and our friendship, we were able to make it work out somehow.
Gwen is still my best friend, so we talk about stuff every day. And luckily we weren't like 19 or 20, we were in our mid-20s, so we had 8 or 9 years behind us already as a band.
While Don't Speak has lived on as this heartbreaking tale of a long-term relationship crashing down, it was actually intended to be something else entirely. Gwen's brother Eric had originally crafted the song many years prior, but with different lyrics. Ironically intending it to be a happy love song.
A special treasure, you and I. Don't speak, I know just what you're saying.
So that was all about, I know you so good, we're gonna be together forever, everything's wonderful. And Tony broke up with me. And so Eric and I went in the garage stubbornly, like, very irritated about the situation, and sat down on the piano and we rewrote the verses.
Nothing new that I've heard.
And it was like that.
During the Tragic Kingdom era, it wasn't just Tony and Gwen's breakup that was causing turmoil within No Doubt. Tragic Kingdom's first single, Just a Girl, was released in September 1995 and brought the band its first taste of mainstream success.
We weren't expecting big success. Just to have it heard was really exciting.
When that song hit the radio, everything changed.
With it, Gwen became a star, and the band found that the media really only wanted to focus on her. That brought tensions and feelings of jealousy within the band. After being on the verge of breaking up just days before they were scheduled to shoot the Don't Speak video, they decided to tackle the issue head-on and have those tensions as the story within the video itself.
We wanted to make something that was going to be touching, and Tom says, why don't we just make it about our band breaking up? That would be the saddest thing.
It's funny when you watch that video, if it seems like we're acting really well, it's probably because we're not even acting. There's a lot of emotional turmoil.
We thought that making a video about our band breaking up would be the saddest thing we could make a video about, and we want to make people cry. So we already had our happy videos, now we want to make a really sad one.
Don't Speak would go on to propel No Doubt to superstardom, past the ska-punk niche they had previously found themselves in. The track would go on to become the most played song on American radio in 1996, and helped Tragic Kingdom go to #1 on the Billboard chart, and eventually sell more than 16 million copies worldwide. When you look at Gwen Stefani's career, Don't Speak is really the line in the sand where you had this ska-punk brat before, and this pop ballad princess after. You don't get the hollaback girl and the entity we all know as the celebrity Gwen Stefani without Don't Speak skyrocketing this underground California ska band to worldwide recognition.
It's not until you're really on stage and you see the people that actually are singing your life back at you.
Don't Speak gave her that confidence to put herself out there, to remind her that it's when you're most vulnerable in your songwriting, when you'll relate to the most people.
That you go, wow, this is intense. Like this is really happening.
Picking up where Fleetwood Mac left off, No Doubt offers a mature look into dealing with heartbreak. Gwen gives listeners permission to be pissed off, yet still accepting the reality of the relationship ending, that it's okay to remain friends with your ex, even though you're frustrated with them. It's interesting to think what would have happened if Tony never broke up with Gwen. What would have happened to No Doubt, or to Gwen's career. But to see how it played out, to go through that heartbreak and awkwardness, to get a Tragic Kingdom, and to get a Don't Speak, it's an outcome few can argue against.
Hush, hush, don't tell me 'cause it hurts.